My name is Tennyson Stead. This is the 8-Sided blog, and I want to talk today a little bit about the work that went into making my career sustainable as a survivor of traumatic brain injury. So this blog isn't new. I used to be maintaining a weekly blog about the development of quantum theory, the feature film, and I had to stop it because I was dealing with the symptoms of traumatic brain injury. I was hit in the head with a sword on a set, and those symptoms included everything from tremors to vocal complications where I couldn't speak, I couldn't walk sometimes. Anyone who's familiar with serious medical trauma knows already that I had chronic fatigue. I had confusion and cognitive problems, and there was a whole host of issues that made it very socially complicated and physically complicated for me to keep doing my work. And the blog was one of the things that suffered, but I'm still here, I'm still working, and there's reasons why that is. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the specific accommodations that I had to make in my life in order to put all this together, because I still use those accommodations today. The fact that I have more energy doesn't mean I'm not doing the things that I was doing when I was more obviously disabled. It's that I'm doing those things and I'm using all that excess energy in different ways to be more effective. The most important thing when it comes to managing your energy and managing your time is to know and acknowledge your limitations and not punish yourself for them. You don't have time for that punishment, and you don't have the energy for it. It's all going to distract from everything that you're trying to achieve. And on some levels, I know this is easy to say when you've been in a situation where you have no physical choice, where you absolutely, for your own safety, have no choice but to acknowledge those limitations. It becomes much more natural to do so in the culture that we live in. And that's because we live in a culture where people are always forcing us to overextend ourselves. In fact, your ability to overextend yourself is one of the big things that shows people how virtuous you are. And that's a crazy, stupid pressure that nobody needs, and at the same time, everybody kind of understands and relies on. And in order to maximize the energy that you have to eliminate your response to that. And if the expectation that you're going to overextend yourself on behalf of other people without any explicit agreement to do so, if that causes other people to fail in their work, if that makes them unsustainable, that is their fault and their problem, and you need to find peace with that. If something isn't helping you strengthen your community, and if something isn't helping you strengthen your craft, cancel it. There was when I was in high school and I was just starting to get into theater, one of my mentors at the time, Jody Young, pulled me aside and said, Tennyson, you're going to have to come to grips with a certain reality. It's obvious to me that you're connecting with the show business stuff, and I understand why it's alluring. There's something you need to know going into this, which is that you can have two lives. You can have your show business life, and you can have one other thing, and that's it. You're not going to be able to accomplish anything else. Don't try, because you're going to overextend yourself, and you're going to cause damage to yourself and the people around you in the process. And that's a hard lesson. It's not something I liked hearing at the time, of course. And over the course of the last 40 years, I've made my peace with it. But I remember when I was lying in the emergency room waiting for the neurologist to come talk to me. The nurse was being nice to me, and I knew something was wrong because this was LA County General. There's no way she'd be nice to me unless she had to give me bad news, right? So I asked her what was going on, and she said she'd go and get the neurosurgeon to talk to me. And I remember the exact thought I had in that moment when she left. I thought, my other thing is brain damage. It was that simple. I wasn't going to have time for anything in my life except for dealing with brain damage and succeeding in show business. And that's it. And I was okay with it. I wasn't like, oh, what about my family? It wasn't, I'm a show person. I love being a show person. I love taking care of my show community. I love being on productions. I love writing and giving actors great material to work with. And it was a fair trade. Whatever that one thing is in your life, know what it is. And just start canceling everything else. If they're not helping you make your craft stronger, and if they're not helping you make your community stronger, you can have one other thing. One of the other things I needed to be conscious of is that I did not invest any extra time or effort in paying my rent. Know exactly what it's going to take to pay that rent, get it paid. Don't think about it. If you have a day job, leave it there. I don't care how abusive the people are there. I don't compartmentalize it, all of it, okay? Don't stress about it, don't think about it, don't make it a part of your life. Put on an identity when you walk into that building and take it off when you leave. It's really important because people get bogged down and they get exhausted and you can't afford it. Something else that helped me was prioritizing absolutely everything. If there was something that I absolutely needed to get done, if there was something time sensitive, if there were other people relying on something related to a show, that was something I needed to get done no matter what. So right away, that's at the top of the priority list. And then I just work down from there and I do what I can do. If my body isn't helping me do the work, I need to take a break. I know what my priorities are. I know what it's going to take to get those things done. As long as the things that other people are counting on are finished by the end of the week, I'll be okay. And I need to be very, very conscious of how much of that I can count on myself for when I'm making commitments. Kind of an extension of that is scheduling, right? I always had a schedule. I knew when things were due. I would give myself a week to make sure that I had time to do the things that I needed to do because, I didn't know which day I was going to be good. So I look for those moments when I have the energy to actually accomplish X or Y and Z. And as soon as I have not the will, not the creative, inspiration or whatever. No, as soon as I have the physical ability, I get in there and I get it done and I get out before my body screws it up. And I still have that mentality about it today. I don't spend any time at all looking for creative inspiration. I do not care what mood I'm in. Whatever mood I'm in, I can use it for work. The main thing is my body responsive to the work? Can I physically do it? If I can physically do it, I'm going to get it done while that's possible, and I'm going to make sure that I work through the priorities that are time sensitive while I have the energy to do it. Ableism is a real thing. People have all kinds of preconceived notions about how they can use your time and then get you to thank them for it. And ultimately, I'm here to tell you, most of the people that say they're helping are not. Most of the people that say they are useful to disabled people or allies of the disabled community are not. But when the help comes along that you need, when someone is offering you something on your own terms, that's exactly what you need it to be, accept it. Don't let the guilt and the shame and all that, you don't have time for any of that. If someone is willing to make something even a smidge easier for you, then you need to let them do it. It's the people who advise you. It's the people who tell you how to live your life and tell you what you need instead of finding out what you need and then giving it to you. Those are the people that you need to get rid of as fast as humanly possible. So while I was dealing with all these symptoms, the exhaustion and fatigue and the overstimulation and the tremors and the physical problems and everything else, I was holding down a job as a fundraiser, calling donors for nonprofit organizations, not every day, but most days. And on top of that, over the course of that period of time before I was homeless, I got 2 web series produced. I wrote a play that was produced on stage in North Hollywood and won awards. I wrote a good number of screenplays, which are, at the time, the best work I'd ever done, and work that I'm still very proud of, some of which I genuinely expect will be produced before my career is over. I finished writing all the rough drafts that I'm going to need to produce my first slate of productions for 8-sided films with the cast and crew that I'm working with. I finished all of them. And some of them are not, completely revised yet, but the first 2 are. Quantum Theory is ready to go. The follow-up movie, Man and Machine, which is a drama, science fiction drama about artificial intelligence, also ready to be produced. Just as soon as we're done with Quantum Theory, and while we're touring on the road with Quantum Theory, we're going to be working on Man and Machine. Let's see what else we got here. I actually met my wife while I was dealing with my brain damage, and I built a relationship with them, and that support has made a world of difference in my life, unquestionably. In fact, I would credit my wife with the fact that I don't display as a brain damaged person right now. Some of the work that I did over the course of that time took a lot longer than I wanted it to. Some of the scripts that I wrote took a lot longer than I wanted them to, and I'm a much faster screenwriter now than I was then, that's for sure. But it got done. And it got done under extraordinarily adverse circumstances. And it got done without breaking any promises. And that's how I did it. I think this is a pretty good place to end the episode, so I'm going to say thank you for showing up. If you like what you're getting from these 8-sided blogs, please click the like button. Please click the subscribe. If you like what you're getting from these 8-sided blogs, please click the like button. Please click the subscribe button. Please click the little bell so that you get your alerts and you know when the next episode is coming. And thank you for watching. Thank you for showing up for this stuff. Let me know if you have any questions, by the way. Find me on Twitter. Those links are always going to be in the description. You can talk to me here. You can talk to me on Twitter. You can talk to me on Stage 32. And I'll see you next week.